Today we're going to go over the deepeeka 15th century knightly Aislinn sword. I probably butchered that name, but nonetheless I'll attach a link below so you can find it if you feel like it's something you'd want to get in the future after seeing this little sword talk of mine. Let's get into it. Alrighty, so first up, the sword itself. We're going to start off by just looking at it from the sheath and the sword inside it, of aesthetics from there, as well as functionality and appearance, as well as even the decorations. This is actually a very, very pretty sword. First of all, the sheath itself is actually one large leather piece, very thick leather hide, cowhide, that has been formed and molded to fit around the sword. It's not got a wooden core, it's not got any kind of plastics or anything in it. I peeled away the top of the sheath here and I'm seeing that it is truly a leather core that's been stiffened and treated to be very, very, very hard and strong. You can see on the back some of the stitching that was used to close it up for the secondary layer leather that they used to cover it. It is very, very clean work. There's pretty much no seam left in the bulk of it other than for the butt cap, the belt lock, and the opening of the sheath. It comes with a full belt integrated into it, which by having the Y-split on the main part of the belt tail, it actually makes it to where it's less likely to swing around when you're wearing it and walking around. Very comfortable to wear and does not get loose or drag on the ground. Once it's belted up, it just stays right where you want it to. The buckle and tail of the belt both have a embossed dragon and lion, it looks like, or two dragons, hard to tell on the one on the buckle, that just add to beautiful decoration on this. The guard and pommel of the sword, they appear to be a steel coated with what would be a type of brass brush or copper brush coating, where you take a piece of hot steel and take a copper wire wheel and immediately are just polishing it with that, and what that does is it leaves the residues of the copper imprinted on the steel. You can do the same thing with a brass wire wheel to fake brass guards or pommels. The handle is either some kind of, I don't know exactly what type of wood it could be, but I am pretty sure it's actually horn and not wood. But that also adds a small problem where when I received it, there is a hairline crack going through the handle of the sword. This seems to be a consistent issue people have brought up for the reviews I've seen online about it. It's 2 scales on a full tang. Now, in theory, a full tang handle should be stronger, but for a sword, it's actually not that necessary. The handle, though, beyond that little crack, it just fits perfectly in the hand. It is probably my most comfortable sword to hold out of all of the ones I own so far. The balance point on this one, I believe, is roughly 2 inches away from the guard, which is acceptable. This sword had, as I pointed out earlier, the crack in the handle. This sword had also been claimed to be spring steel. It is not. This is more than likely a wear shim. Now, that's actually not a bad thing. Wear shims are extremely strong and very stiff. You can see that it's barely wanting to bend. Most of that bend is in the thinner area of the point of the blade. However, the problem with being a wear shim is, though it is a very high carbon steel, it does not like impact. It's made for abrasive wear and not impact wear. And due to that, in the past, an individual I knew asked to borrow it and I trusted them. She then decided to start striking another sword I had with one of her friends, where it took chipping out of the blade. You can see, as I get closer to the tip, little notches starting to show up in that one edge of the blade, and they just keep getting worse and worse. I was able to clean up most of that with a file. However, it heavily damaged the blade to where if I was to try to clean up all that chipping, I have to grind off an entire 1/16 off of both edges of the blade to make it uniform and even. And that is a lot of work and a lot of loss in the blade itself. So all in all, for aesthetics, I give this sword a 9 out of 10. It just can't be beat by any of the ones I've handled and seen in my own collection so far. Everything about the handle, the weight, it just feels perfect. And even the belt integrated into the sheath, it just, for how well it feels and being worn, I cannot complain about a single fact of anything about this sword. It's easily, visually, one of my favorite swords, as well as if I want to go to the Renaissance Fair or just show it off, this is the one I immediately go to because this is easily the nicest one in my collection. For their price point of all their blades, they make some of the nicest sheaths for the price point of all their swords. You actually get some decent quality sheaths with some decent quality swords. Now another caveat about this blade when I bought it. Cult of Athena was doing a large blemish grade sale when I bought it. I believe it might be somewhere around the $250 mark. Don't quote me on that. I still am going to put the link in the description with the correct price attached to the link as well. Alrighty, so would I recommend this sword for anyone to buy? This would be more of a you choice after you've heard what I've had to say about it and my own opinions on it. The reason I might say no is because if you are wanting something to do cutting tests with, cutting wood, cutting just about anything, it is not something I would feel safe myself doing, even if I sharpened it up, cleaned up the blade, got all the notches gone. If I'm hacking on a piece of wood with that chipping on the blade, the steel did not like impact, so it's likely got a higher chance of shattering and breaking, and that can cause a lot of personal injury even with protective equipment like a good thick gambeson. The reasons I might say yes to recommending it is if you're looking for something that's just a nice wall hanger, something that's a little bit more than the standard cast-handled maul katanas that you might find online. If you're wanting something that also looks really fancy with a Renaissance costume, it's perfect. It fits that bill. It looks like a noble's blade. It honestly is, it's kind of replicated after an existing noble's sword. But it in itself is not really a performance-ready sword. The blade needs work. It needs a different blade material. The spring steel would have been better as they have a higher tolerance to impact. But being a wear shim as it is, and that handle, just kind of bring it drawn down. My overall opinion on this one is very mixed, but I still love this sword. It is one of my favorites in my collection. I am never getting rid of it, and I am going to do my best to try to fix the problems with it from the manufacturer as well as from damages that have happened to it as well. Alrighty, so that has been Sword Talk. I hope that some of this information was helpful for you in your own future purchases and choices of blade, and that you can actually glean a little bit of information from this review. And hopefully next week we'll be back to our regular testing schedule for the matchlocks. This weekend and last weekend it was raining, as well as me not being available last weekend to do any kind of recording. Right now we're working on trying to get a backlog of videos made to where I can be more consistent. It's a new channel, new thing to be working on, new learning process. So hopefully here in the future I can actually be a little more consistent and being able to get more done at a time. Thank you for watching. Look forward to seeing you in the next video. Remember to let me know what you think in the comments and what you want to see next done with this sword. Take care.